Qualitative Approach by Lauren Carnes and MoMo. Correlational research. Correlational research refers to the systematic investigation or statistical study of relationships among two or more variables without necessarily determining cause and effect. One main reason we want to know about correlation is about prediction. If two variables are correlated, knowing one variable allows us to have an educated guess what the other variable is likely to be. For instance, to test hypothesis, swimming makes one happy and relaxed, there are two ways of conducting research. Experimental, taking group samples and make one group swim and then compare their moods. Survey, ask people how they feel when they swim, how often they swim, then compare the findings. Advantages and disadvantages. Some advantages are we can collect as much information from many subjects at one time. We can also study a wide range of variables and their interrelations. We can also study variables that are not easily produced in the laboratory. Some disadvantages: correlation studies do not indicate causation, cause and effect. Correlational research is only available to study within the two variables being explored, and it is unable to identify which variable has the most influence. The variables are interacting with one another. There are also challenges with self-reported methods. If we also want to know about cause, we'll want to do an experiment. Qualitative approach. The qualitative approach to research is focused on understanding a phenomenon from a closer perspective, natural setting, attempting to make sense of or interpret phenomenon in terms of meanings people bring to them. Qualitative approach consists of non-numerical data, in-depth description of a situation, interpretive and descriptive findings, and observations of a natural setting. Common approaches to qualitative research. There are 4 approaches to qualitative research, which are almost similar since they offer emphasis on interpretation rather than objective empirical observations. Ethnography focuses mainly on culture. Phenomenology relies on individual interpretation on their experiences. Discourse analysis focuses on systems used in communication, example, language. Ground theory, the main aim is the development of theory through induction. Steps to qualitative approach. Step 1, gather your feedback. Gather all of the comments and feedback you want to analyze through online forms or surveys. Step 2, coding your comments. Code your data and outline your theme and descriptions. Step 3, run your queries. Look for insights in your data. Step 4, reporting. This is the final step. This is where you report your findings. The critique of qualitative research. Qualitative research is too subjective. It is very difficult to replicate in some studies. There are also problems to generalization. There's also lack of transparency in the research. It is also important to note that unstructured approach to inquiry is usually classified as qualitative research. Another study that we looked at, which was a correlational study, it was in the examination of emotional regulation, temperament, and parenting styles as potential predictors of adolescent depression and the risk status. Summary. The predictive correlation design investigated both novel, which was emotional regulation strategies, and traditional risk factors, parenting, temperament, in relation to adolescent depression. The two variables being used are to determine the prevalence between emotional regulation and parenting temperament. This was investigated by symptoms of depression and how it correlates. The independent variables being examined were regulation, temperament, and parenting style, the dependent variables being the risk of the adolescent depression. The sample size was over 30 participants, which included 88 adolescents. This study that we chose to examine used the survey method, which included self-reported symptomology questionnaires and clinical diagnosis assessments. The nature of depressive symptoms showed to have a negative correlation with high levels of expressive suppression. The study also revealed inconsistencies between relationship of depression associated with novel and traditional risk factors. This would indicate further studies are needed to predict further events. Thank you.